Hello, this is Mike from Cornerable Software again. This is part 2 of how to centrally manage Syslog devices. In this video, I'm going to show you how to centrally consolidate all device syslogs into the Cornerable Server Manager database, how to view consolidated logs, how to view consolidated syslog summary information, how to automatically delete entries from the log database that are no longer needed for auditing and compliance. Then lastly, how to manually delete multiple consolidated logs at the same time. In the previous tutorial, we configured both the UDP and TCP syslog servers. However, we did not configure template assignments. To configure the assignments, we need to go back into the syslog server settings. From the Settings view, select the Assignments tab. Use the Blacklist drop-down to add any host you do not want to manage. All UDP messages received from any blacklisted host are ignored. All TCP server connections from any blacklisted host are denied. By default, the Host Groups drop-down is blank. When a new syslog device sends a message and the host has not yet been added to the software, the device is automatically added to the root syslog devices group. If the syslog devices group does not exist, it is automatically created. If you prefer to add new devices to another group or set of groups, use the drop-down to select the target groups, or click the Add button to create a new group. Use the Synchronize Host Groups option to reapply host groups assignment each time a device sends a syslog message for the first time after the management service has been restarted or the device is cleared from the DNS cache. Each DNS cache entry is removed automatically from the cache after 1 hour. Use the Template Groups and Report Groups drop-downs to assign new devices to specific template groups and report groups. Lastly, use the Templates drop-down to assign the syslog consolidation template. By default, the syslog consolidation template has already been assigned for you. If you prefer to manually decide which devices to save syslog entries for, leave this drop-down blank, then manually assign the syslog consolidation template after the device sends its first syslog message and is added to the system. Once you've finished making your changes, click Save. Once saved, the servers are automatically restarted. To see this in action, first I'm going to delete the devices that we added in the last tutorial. Once started, notice the devices are automatically added to the group we assigned to the syslog server settings. Once expanded, we can see the syslog node under the syslog consolidation template. To view the consolidated syslog entries, right-click on the syslog node, then select View. Use the Select Log Viewer Options dialog to select any filters you would like to apply. Then select the paging options, including the initial date. If you've selected a filter and would like to search through the entire database for matching entries, select the Auto Advance checkbox. Once selected, the viewer automatically moves to the next page if no entries are found that match your search criteria. Once the viewer is open, notice there are several columns of interest. These are Application, Process ID, Message ID, Data, and Internal Message. These values have been automatically added because I configured the syslog servers to apply RFC 5424, and the log viewer options have been configured to include the parsed columns. To see the configuration or change it, go back into the syslog server settings. Notice on the options page, RFC 5424 is selected. Next, select the Columns tab. Notice those columns are included in the column definitions. To remove those columns, go back to the Options tab and deselect RFC 5424. Then, back on the Columns tab, click Load Columns. Notice the columns associated with RFC 5424 have been removed. If I save my changes, then refresh my log viewer, we can see those columns have now been removed. Now, one thing I want to mention here, notice the host column is displaying a different value. The value displayed is the host name that sent the message. My test syslog devices are simulating a syslog relay, which means the host name is contained within the syslog message itself. When parsed using RFC 5424, the actual host name is extracted. To see this again, I'll roll back the changes I just made, then refresh the consolidated syslog viewer. Before we do that, take a look at the actual message. That's the host name embedded within the message in a syslog relay message. There are several ways to view the consolidated syslog summary. From the consolidated syslog viewer, click the Data Properties toolbar icon. From the Explorer view, find the syslog node under the syslog consolidation template. Then right-click and select Data Properties. The consolidated syslog properties view displays then summary information scanned from the database. Please note that larger logs may take several minutes for the results to display. To view summary results for all of your syslog devices, assign the sample database summary report to the syslog devices group, then right-click on the report and select View Report. If you open the report and it's blank, like this report, that's because the report is displaying results for the log entry retention policy, which has not yet run for our syslog devices. Before I show you this report, I'm going to show you how the log entry retention policy works. Back in the syslog consolidation template properties on the Options tab, there's a log entry retention policy dropdown. This dropdown specifies the array of log entry retention policy templates to apply. Here we can see this template is configured to run once a day. Then on the Options tab, we can see there are no filters applied, so all entries will be affected by this policy. Entries are archived in the log database after 30 days. Then archived entries are removed after 120 days, for a total of 150 days of entries. The larger these values, the more disk space you will need to accommodate the data. If you have large database tables and need to save data for 5 years, for example, we suggest implementing monthly database backups. Server Manager includes database backup functions. However, I'm not going to diverge on this topic in this video. Back in the syslog consolidation template, notice we can assign multiple policies. Multiple policies enable users to target specific entries for removal. For example, users can assign a template that filters informational entries, then deletes them from the primary log database after 14 days. templates are run in the order listed. In this example, the informational entries will be moved prior to the other entries being moved into the archive database. To manually run the log entry retention policy so we can see our database summary, right-click on the template, then select Execute All. Typically, in a production environment, this function may take 5 or 10 minutes. However, since I only have a few entries in my database, the function is going to complete almost instantly. Now, back in the database summary, if I refresh the screen, the summary data loads as expected. Lastly, if you want to manually delete any log, you can do that one of several ways. To manually delete any log, find the log, then right-click and select Delete. You can also delete multiple logs via the log database summary found within the dashboard. That's part 2 of centralized syslog management.